Hey, it's Mike with TechVB, and before I do the V2 review, which is coming up, I had an idea to do this video about, does playing pump make you a better player? A lot of people ask that question, if I buy a pump gun, is that going to make me a better player? Be honest, no, it's not going to make you a better player. Will playing pump force you to play differently than you normally do, which will allow you to work on those skills? Yes. So does buying a pump gun and using a pump gun, is that going to make you a better player? No, absolutely not. Are pump players that only use pump guns and don't use any other sort of semi-auto, or are they any sort of mystical paintball players with an amazing amount of skill? Not necessarily either. But the thing is it's almost like, imagine like when you're working out, okay? If you're not really good at doing squats, well, what's the way to get better? Is to do squats, okay? If you're not really good at curls, well, in order for you to curl more weight, just do more curls. The same thing with a pump gun. What a pump gun does is it forces you to almost like right-left-handed, okay? So if you're out there on the field and you're not good at communicating, you shoot too much paint, and you don't really move, well, those are the things that using a pump gun is going to kind of force you to do. Because one, you're not going to be able to shoot a lot of paint with a pump gun, okay? It's basically pop, 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 okay? You don't have a very high rate of fire at all. The second thing it's going to force you to do is, because you're not shooting your gun and you're mesmerized by the pretty stream coming out of your marker, it's going to force you to look around a lot more. It's going to force you to communicate with your teammates, and another thing it's going to do is, because you don't have that rate of fire to catch people as they're running through your lanes and stuff like that, you are going to get frustrated sitting in the bunker that you're at, and you're going to want to move up, because there's just really no other way to shoot people. You're not going to get in a gun battle with a pump gun and shoot somebody out that's shooting 12.5 balls per second back at you, and you're one ball in the back. Yeah, that does happen every now and then, but not very often. So does buying a pump gun make you a better player? Not necessarily. There's nothing that you can do really with a pump gun that you can't do with a normal gun. Put your gun in semi-auto and just one ball, and you'll basically be getting the same advantages as you will the pump gun. Now, is a pump gun fun to use? Yeah, it's really fun to use. It's a blast to use. It's definitely a different part of paintball. But before you go out there and invest in, $150, $200, $500 into a pump gun, or even $800 or $1,000 plus for like some of the Palmer's guns and stuff like that, if you're looking into trying to make yourself a better player, the biggest thing you've got to do is just sit down and be honest with yourself and say, well, what exactly is happening to me that I'm getting killed at? Well, am I shooting massive amounts of paint but not moving? Well, I need to focus on moving. You do all the same things with semi-auto as you can with a pump gun. So, is pump play a blast? Yeah, pump play is a lot of fun. There's nothing better than having a pump gun in your gear bag. And at the end of the day, when you've shot 2 cases of paint and you've only got 1 pod left, and you're like, if I use my whatever marker, Victory or Ego or whatever, I'm going to be out of paint in like 2 seconds. Then you're like, well, wait a second, I can pick up my pump gun, go out there with that last pod, and probably play 2 more games. But I wanted to put that out there just to make sure that people, are not let down by their investments in pump guns. It's not going to make you a better player. It's going to force you to work on certain parts of your game that you may not traditionally be used to doing. But you can also do the same thing. Take a 50-round loader, stick it on top of your Ego 10 or your SLS or your INT or super expensive gun, leave your pack in the pits, and go play with that. And you'll basically be working on almost the same thing. You don't have a lot of paint, you don't have a lot of rate of fire, and you're going to force yourself to have to move up the field and stuff like that. So I just wanted to put that out there before people make investments in pump guns and then they just end up sitting in the closet collecting dust, or you're like, that was kind of a dumb idea. Why did I spend $500 on a pump gun? It didn't make me a better player. It's not really going to make you a better player. It's going to force you to work on things that you may not normally do, but it's not going to make you a better player. Thanks for tuning in.